Good morning. My name is Alex Basic, and as the campaign manager for the Republican Party, I'm pleased to introduce your next Senator, Haley Marshall.
Good morning and thank you. As introduced by my campaign manager, my name is Haley Marshall, and I'm running for the Republican Party to be your next senator. Growing up, both my mother and father were hardworking entrepreneurs, and I've seen firsthand the effect the government has had on their small business and our middle-class family. My parents taught me to always work hard for what you want from a young age. At the age of 16, I got my first real job hostessing at a restaurant in Midlothian called Mediterranean. There I developed many of the hardworking skills I still have today. After graduating from Palatine High School, I went on to continue my education at the University of Mississippi. I received my bachelor's in political science and a minor in economics. Going to a different state for my education was such a blessing and a burden. We'll get into the burden part later. But it made me realize how lucky I was to live in a state like Virginia. After I graduated, I moved back to my home state and received my JD in law at the University of Virginia. I am happily married and have twin boys, Liam and Logan. I began my own law firm shortly after finishing school, but I also served on the Joint Advisory Board of Economists for former Governor Bob McDonnell and current Governor Terry McAuliffe. And I have also served on the Medicaid Innovation and Reform Commission Board. I've done work for both state and local levels for Habitat for Humanity and the Richmond Rotary Club. Virginia will always be my home, and I am running to ensure it is provided with the leadership it deserves and a voice we can trust. The three issues that I am most passionate about and that inspire me to be the voice for our Commonwealth are abortion, education, and immigration. In the beginning of my speech, I labeled myself as a Republican. As we know, the typical stereotype for a Republican is an old white man that hates women. Well, I can assure you I am not an old white man, and I do not hate women. I've already broken three typical stereotypes for the Republican Party, and I'm about to break another. I believe in pro-choice. Who's the government to tell me what I can do with my body? Isn't limited government the cornerstone of the real Republican Party? Doctors and patients, not politicians, should determine the course of medical treatment. Labels like pro-choice or anti-choice should not deter the important issue of fighting to ensure that Americans can make their own medical decisions. Individuals and families have the right to unrestricted access to reproductive choices from education to abstinence, contraception, motherhood, adoption, and safe legal abortion. There's nothing more fiscally conservative than the proven cost savings of prenatal health policies and initiatives. Choice is not a political issue, and the government should not be in the business of legislating private behavior or personal medical decisions. Choice will never be safe unless it is respected and supported within both parties. Earlier in my speech, I mentioned how my education at the University of Mississippi was a burden and a blessing. Although I received an outstanding education and was provided with wonderful opportunities, attending an out-of-state school was a financial burden. Today, the average cost to attend a public out-of-state four-year institution is $42,219, while the average in-state cost is $18,943. Even with a well-off middle-class family to help support me, I also have two siblings that also had to go to a four-year institution, and no family can afford that. I believe that the federal government should no longer issue student loans. Greater private sector participation in loans would drive tuition costs down, therefore students and families wouldn't need to rely on the government to help pay for tuition. College is not the only important education system that needs reform. We also need to make a change in our secondary schools. We need to get rid of standardized testing and focus on educating our future leaders to be able to compete with students around the world, not just passing an SOL test. My last point is immigration. The greatest asset of the American economy is the American worker. Just as immigrant labor helped build our country in the past, today's legal immigrants are making vital contributions in every aspect of our national life. Their industry and commitment to American values strengthen our economy, enriches our culture, and enables us to better understand and more effectively compete with the rest of the world. Illegal immigration undermines those benefits and affects U.S. workers. In an age of terrorism, drug cartels, human trafficking, criminal gangs, the presence of millions of unidentified persons in this country poses grave risk to safety and sovereignty of the United States. When elected, my highest priority, therefore, is to secure the rule of law at our borders and ports of entry. I believe in pro-assimilation. That being said, if someone comes into our country, they should learn and speak English, attend our schools, and adapt to our culture. With all that being said, I believe you should vote for me because I am the best voice to represent Virginia in the United States Senate. I will work hard to fight for your rights, improve our education system, and keep jobs in America. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a new Marshall in town.